Hi, welcome to a. Wow, that flashed into the red there on the bars. Anyway, we are. Saradin is busy again this week. He's taking extra hours to pay for his trip to Japan that he's taking. So, no podcast episode this week. Instead, we'll be doing another supplemental thing, and we're going to be reacting to some general anime hot takes on probably a variety of threads on our anime today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I fucking love hot take threads just because
Mm-hmm.
it's fun seeing how wrong people are,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh,
and sometimes we might agree with them.
Sometimes. I'm gonna turn the light on, actually. I forgot I had my camera on. One sec.
Oh, okay, you're good. You're good.
There we go.
I'm assuming your face is
Yeah,
on camera.
because I'm leaning back and I realized that I was only barely visible. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Just like all you can see is like a chin.
It just flashes Actually, this is a weird angle. Here's some live technicalities. Maybe I should actually just sit up. I
That's
usually,
probably a good idea.
yeah, I usually lean, but it's not a flattering angle when I lean. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Let's
Bring me, Princess Leia.
bring me Princess Leia. Gunta slappa hot or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't speak Hut.
Who does? Who does?
No, I'm not sure it's a real language. I think they just made them random noises.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think Lucas went full Klingon with it.
No, yeah. I'm pretty sure Huddies is just gibberish.
Anyway, this is a thread from 2 months ago. What are y'all's anime hot takes? So we're gonna go through some here. Somebody says Cowboy Bebop could have worked in live action. I mean,
I mean,
theoretically.
damn near any. I mean, theoretically, damn near anything can work in live action. The problem is, like, you can say that. You can say
I
that.
guess I don't know. There's some things that are so intrinsic to the medium of animation that I don't think they'd translate well to live action. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know, your beloved Gurren Lagann. Would you like to see a live action Gurren Lagann?
Fuck no.
Yeah,
God,
no.
no.
I do agree though. Cowboy Bebop could have worked. It probably should have worked, but it didn't.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of the issues with Cowboy Bebop in live action are mostly down to writing rather than like the usual issues of like visuals and
Yeah,
design. Like most of the issues with Bebop was on the writing end.
yeah. I don't think everything can work in live action, but I think Bebop definitely could have. Shame it didn't. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
Um, Hot take: the Fate series is not complicated. People just don't have the patience to sit for literally a minute or two and understand what routes are.
That's kind of true. That's kind of true
It
in
is.
some regards.
It is true. I mean, ultimately, the problem is, it's very easy to get into Fate. Start with Fate Stay Night. Problem is they've made that difficult.
Yeah.
The VN is perpetually not officially licensed because Type Moon wants a ridiculous sum of money for it because of its prestige, I guess. And the anime is fragmented, to say the best.
Yeah,
It always amazes me. I think I've said this before. It amazes me that despite the popularity, the influence, and the sheer massive profitability of the Fate franchise, they can't fucking get an all-encompassing, just fucking standard television Fate Stay Night adaptation together.
yeah. Because like we have the Dean anime, which is mostly the Fate route, but like
Mostly.
it has like little bits of Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel just kind of like sprinkled in there randomly.
Yeah.
And then we have like individual adaptations of Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel.
Yeah. It blows my mind that something this fucking popular and massively financially successful, they just don't seem to have any interest in getting like an all encompassing this is the anime adaptation done, because it doesn't seem infeasible. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it shouldn't be complicated, but they're making it more complicated than it should be, and that's really the big issue.
Yeah.
And
I do agree with the
this is
general
also
with the
good.
general sentiment that like Fate franchise not hard to get into. There's just a lot of it, but it all starts from the same like two places.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that like most of the Fate franchise is just like kind of self-contained spin-offs. So
I don't
you
know.
don't really
I
need
don't
to.
know if they're You need to have the basic understanding
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
Fate
yeah.
universe
Well, I
that
say
you
self-contained more
right.
so that they take place in their own individual universe, or they're
Yeah,
tangentially related enough to the original anime that like they're kind of their own thing at that point.
I don't like the phrase self-contained though because it implies you can jump into any of them without anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah.
Because most of them will require you at least be familiar with the basics, and that's going to require at least Fate Stay Night. But like, I
Yeah.
agree with the sentiment that most of them aren't connected to each other, and once you have that base of Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero, you can kind of go in whatever direction you want. As far as I'm aware, I'm not a huge Fate fan. I only know the basics.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's as far as I'm. That's how I understand it. So yeah, it's not as complicated as it's made out to be.
Yeah.
Hot take: feeling pressured to watch all the popular animes makes
That again.
makes me less interested in watching them. Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah. Overhype will kill your interest in anything.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I don't even check out most of the most popular stuff as it airs. I check it out later and,
Sure.
and binge it. Most of what I do now is that like I pick a couple of smaller niche things that I already have some level of interest in, and I just follow those.
Yeah.
Like this season, all I'm watching are Nagatoro, Onimai, and the new Pretty Cure series. That is it.
Yeah. No, yeah. The more experienced you get with it, the more you learn to curate your experience. That goes with
Yep.
basically anything. Uh, let's see here. Others speak. You might know. You'll probably know more about this than me. Others speak of Teasing Master Takagi-san as a very chill, relaxing anime, but I personally found it to be one of the most difficult and stressful anime to get through.
Yeah, so it depends on how much you relate to the main character.
Yeah.
Because, like, the whole thing with Takagi-san is uh, her entire, like, the entire uh, relationship between Takagi and Nishikata is formed around uh, Takagi keeping Nishikata off balance and constantly teasing him and kind of like, for lack of a better term, low key gaslighting him, as like kind of a joke.
Based?
Yeah, so that can actually be very anxiety inducing for some people.
Sure.
Um, I actually find the sequel series, where they're married and have a kid, to be a lot better because the addition of their daughter Chi
Mm-hmm.
uh, breaks up the dynamic a lot better, and it actually makes it a lot more relaxing and a lot more. It's just a lot cuter because a large part of it also has to deal with them being parents and having to
Sure.
go through the struggles of having a kid and all the things that kids do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I actually prefer the sequel series, generally speaking.
Mm.
But I actually do understand that because the way that the dynamic works in the original series can be anxiety inducing. This is actually part of the reason why I like Nagatoro a lot more because there's actually more of a give and take in Nagatoro
Yeah.
because Nagatoro generally softens up throughout the entire series as her senpai, influences her, and she gets him to be more confident
Yeah,
in return.
senpai
Like,
claps back from time to time, and it's always very entertaining when that happens. Sometimes the turn tables, and it's fun.
it can be very cathartic sometimes. Yeah, it's the two have a really fun dynamic. That's part of why I like Nagatoro more than Takagi-san because there's way more give and take between the two of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Whereas
I
I
think
feel
my favorite moments of the show are when senpai somehow turns it back around on her. It's really
yeah, and
fun.
it's so fun watching Nagatoro get knocked off balance.
Yeah,
It's arguably the funniest part of the show.
yeah.
Um,
No, I understand why some people would have trouble with shows like this. Like I bounced off Watamote because I found its brand of cringe comedy just too uncomfortable to be funny.
hmm Yeah, and I feel like for some people, Takagi-san has that issue.
Yeah,
Um, so I get that actually. I
yeah.
do.
I call it the Nisekoi threshold.
A little bit, a little bit.
Yeah. Let me scroll down. This guy says Outlaw Star better than Cowboy Bebop.
I haven't seen enough of Outlaw Star to form an opinion on that.
Alright.
But from what I know, Outlaw Star is a lot more fantastical and a lot more pulp sci-fi, whereas Cowboy Bebop is more so a film noir in space. So it kind of depends on what kind of entertainment you're looking for.
Go read the source material. Non-endings immediately make an anime worse in my eyes. It's part of why I prefer original anime. Yeah, I think the industry is getting a little better about that, for better or worse. I think, especially Shueisha. Shueisha has really caught on to the fact that people like complete adaptations. And if you do them well enough in the right properties, it can actually work out well for you.
Oh yeah, Assassination Classroom happened, and they were like, wait,
This could be this.
hold on now.
Yeah, people don't give Assassination Classroom enough credit for basically changing the game in that regard.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think the industry is slowly coming around on its foundation of, well, this is just advertisement for source material. I think more gradually they're seeing the anime adaptations as their own products that should be completed if possible and feasible too. So that's becoming less of an issue these days.
Yeah, and in some cases there are some older shows, like Fruits Basket, that are getting complete readaptations so that they can just be much closer to the manga. So,
and there's a fucking Rurouni Kenshin reboot coming soon.
there you go. That's another one, because like the Anishi arc was never adapted.
Yep.
So that's great.
Hot take, subs and dubs are both generally good, and the arguments over them have not mattered in like a decade. Just watch what you prefer and let others watch what they prefer. Yeah.
Broadly, yes.
Broadly.
Though again, in regards to the whole, dub and localization
I will say this though. The problem with some dubs is that it's rarely ever the actors. It's almost always the scripts.
Oh yeah. So that's really what it's down to. Generally speaking, anime dubs have broadly, like in recent years, in the last I'd say 10 years, there's actually been a really good standardization of quality with English dubs in general. In terms of casting and actual vocal performances.
There is the issues that we tend to harp on sometimes, like Hunter x Hunter 116. The babying of vocal cords that Western actors have to do sometimes, but also some of them don't give a shit. So it's a varying thing, but I'm sure if we understood Japanese, it would vary just as much for us there. So I think the arguments people used to have not mattered in a decade or more.
Plus the whole thing about anime English dubs being heavily edited to appeal to a Western market has not been a thing for a long time, and the last time that did happen was a fucking dub of Pretty Cure that bombed horribly. So go make of that what you will.
Sure. Let's see here.
Let's put it this way: anyone who brings up 4Kids Entertainment these days has not been in the conversation for 15 years.
Okay. So somebody. Okay, so this is not a hot take, but somebody said something about Magical Girl anime, and he said I should get around to watching some Magical anime. And somebody listed some suggestions. I'm gonna list you these suggestions they gave, and I want you to pick out the one that does not belong.
Okay.
Heartcatch Precure.
Excellent choice.
Smile Precure.
Phenomenal choice.
Go Princess Precure.
Also a good choice. I'm actually going to start watching that soon.
Cardcaptor Sakura.
That's classic.
Puella Magi Madoka Magica.
Huh.
I mean, that's not the one that doesn't belong, trust me.
Okay.
Magical Girl Lyrical Nanoha.
Oh, yeah. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely.
Symphogear.
Yeah. Symphogear is like the most shonen Magical Girl anime you're gonna get.
Flip Flappers.
Yeah, fair enough, actually. Yeah.
Gonna Be the Twin Tail.
Okay. Wait.
You said good, right? You said
good, right?
I didn't. That wasn't my brain autofilling words, right?
you almost had it. You almost. Oh, motherfucker.
They also say
You.
Kill la Kill, which is debatable, but I guess I can see the argument.
It's. It's sort of kind of a magical girl anime, kind of sort of if you squint. Uh,
Yeah, that if you squint, it's like when there have been people that have called Ruby a magical girl show, and I'm like, if you
no.
squint from a distance, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Because like it
that's
doesn't like
funny.
the. Yeah,
I just
yeah.
thought that was funny.
Gotta be the twin tail. Fuck me. No. You started off with heart catch and smile. That's so good though. Ah, you son of a bitch. I'm mad now. Fuck you. Anybody who starts with fucking gotta be the twin tail, they're not gonna watch another magical anime ever.
Someone says Jujutsu Kaisen is boring as hell. Please don't attack me. No, I agree. I think it's. I think it started off interesting, and then, man, I didn't care about anyone. That's really my problem. The setting and power system are underdeveloped, and I don't give a shit about any of these people. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
This guy says you're not the demographic. I am absolutely the demographic. The show's just mid.
Yeah, mind you, going back a little bit, the reason why I reacted like that to Madoka is because I don't think that's a good first impression for magical girl anime. I feel like that's an anime that like you get a better appreciation for it if you've seen other magical girl anime beforehand.
Sure.
That's my only thing.
Yeah. This is an amusing interaction. I just want you to see this. Because somebody said Haruhi is the greatest anime of all time. And then
it is really, really good.
And then OP responds, "What's that? Never heard of it." I'm not making this up.
I am in physical pain. I am in physical pain. Oh no!
Someone said you're young, huh? No, I'm 19. Like, oh, okay.
No, 19. That's 10 years younger than me. Fuck. Oh no, how far removed from the 2000s are we now? Oh dear God.
Yeah.
They don't know. The younger generations don't know.
Someone said the older you get, the more cringe Death Note gets. No.
Hard disagree.
No,
I love Death Note.
No, I've loved Death Note since I was like 13, and I still love it today.
It is over the top, pulpy fun. I love Death Note.
No, Death Note's great.
No, but it's not nuanced. It's not supposed to be.
Someone says Spy Family is the most overrated anime to have ever existed. Okay, well, see you next season when that gets replaced.
Yep. Gotta love that recency bias.
That reaction. That's a wow. Go see a doctor because your knee be jerking.
It does remind me though of the Crunchyroll Anime Awards were recently actually, and they had that entire stipulation that no fall anime could be included because they wanted to prevent a recency bias. Anime of the year this year was Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Oh well, that was September, right? That's fall.
No, Cyberpunk was earlier in the year.
Was that? That was like September.
No. Edge Runners was oh, that was September.
Yeah, don't fucking. I know.
Okay,
Okay.
barely,
Well, I guess
barely.
I guess technically the fall season starts in October, so I guess it's technically not a fall show, but that still feels like it falls under recent. Whatever. I'm glad they're trying. It's hard to combat recency
it's still
bias.
good.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Sure. It's hard to combat recency bias.
Yeah, it is.
Somebody says Death Note better than Code Geass. Where do we fall on this?
Why must we have two kings fight?
It's Code Geass is so much more ambitious, though. There's so
it's
much else going on.
well, Code Geass has a much larger scale
Yeah.
conflict going on,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Death Note is smaller and more centralized.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's hard to
um,
compare them in that way. You can
it
point
really because
you
like
can point to the
people
obvious failings of Code Geass, but like I feel like it doesn't measure up to how many things it gets right.
yeah. Besides, I feel like there's also a level of just disingenuousness from people comparing these two series because like consistently you'll hear people call Code Geass Death Note with Mecha,
Yeah.
which I understand why they say that, but at the same time, it's kind of diminishing a lot of the unique elements that make Code Geass worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it kind of just, I feel like it makes too many false equivalences between the two shows. They're
Plus,
just too different after a.
we all know it's Jisenjo no Mao with Mecha.
Shut up.
I just wanted to say I don't even think that. I just wanted to say that for the one person in the crowd who'll get
I
that.
know. I know what that is.
Aha! Anyway, um, okay. This person says, "Spicy. Read at your own risk." Oh God, my eyes are gonna
Oh
burst
dear.
into flames at these. Just the hottest of takes.
I'm
Watch a
gonna be
bit.
flung out the window by the force of this take.
Oh yeah, like that time Gordon Ramsay chucked a microwave out the window.
Yeah.
That was fun. Anyway, so get buckle up, get ready, fasten your seatbelts.
Oh boy.
I don't mind. I don't mind when adaptations take risks and diverge from source material and make original endings for unfinished series. It is better than non-endings. Even in cases where the source is completed, an anime adaptation is a good chance to refine flawed works. Yeah, sure.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Wow, my eyes are ice cold.
I'm still firmly in my chair here.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
think,
like
yeah,
who doesn't like sometimes an ending for an original work is just not good and it's an opportunity for the anime to do something better.
Mayor,
Mayor,
Mayor.
mayor.
Yep.
Sometimes sometimes the best option is just stopping the adaptation before it gets bad. Looking at you, Usagi Drop.
Did they know at the time?
The manga had actually gotten to that point at that time, so
I don't know if they
the
did that.
anime.
I don't know if they did that because of that reason or because that's just how many episodes they had, and it was just a weird coincidence. Anyway, no, I agree. Yeah, like all of this is contextual and case by case. Like anyone who has a blanket opinion on this is dumb.
Yeah.
Then he goes on, One Piece does not have a slow start whatsoever in the anime or manga. The opening episode/chapter does much more in establishing the premise of the series and endearing you to the characters and conflicts in less runtime/pages than most other series out there. If you compare it to all of the WSJ Axt series, there's a clear contrast in first episode chapter quality.
I will say, in terms of the manga, One Piece does have a really strong pilot chapter.
Yeah.
Just setting up the entire base conflict, who Luffy is, what his whole deal is, and what his motivations and desires are. It's incredibly effective as a first chapter.
Yeah.
What people often say, the reason why people call One Piece slow to begin is that it takes a while for you to get to the stuff that really has a strong emotional impact.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that, like, the best. People will consistently say, you have to get to Arlong Park. If you're not into One Piece by Arlong Park, you're not into One Piece, which, honestly, that's a fair enough statement. Arlong Park is the biggest turning point of the initial East Blue saga, so that's completely fair. But that's not to say that the arcs working up to that are bad. It's just that a lot of them don't really have the same level of emotional and thematic through line that Arlong Park has. So that's why people consider One Piece to have a bit of a slow start, is because it takes a few arcs for it to pick up steam.
Yeah.
Now, I'm personally a big fan of the Kuro and Baratie arcs, but then again, I'm weird. So,
Yeah. 3, same guy. 4 Kids dubs are not as bad as the community thinks, and the tonal shifts of their censorship are not as jarring without the original version to contrast. No, they're that bad.
No, they. Okay, it depends.
Some are better than others, but in
Yeah,
general, they are that bad.
broadly speaking, they are that bad. There are some cases where there's a so like this is something that I see a lot when people like now that the Japanese version of Sonic X is coming out soon.
Yeah.
There's been a heavy backlash against people who have grown up with the 4 Kids dub of Sonic X,
Yeah.
who have this idea about Chris Thorndike being a useless, whiny little bitch. But that's because all of his character development was sanded off in the dub.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the dub makes Chris look a lot worse and a lot more petty because all of the problems he has dealing with fucking parental abandonment and abuse were taken out of the English dub because kids can't handle that.
No, it's because we've normalized those things in America, and we don't want to tell them they're wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck.
No, 4
But
Kids
no,
dubs
yeah,
bad.
those the 4 Kids dubs are absolutely that bad.
There's some that are less
yeah.
bad. Like, if you're one of those weirdos that like Shaman King 2001, I'm making a look to the camera for a second.
Yeah.
Then its dub is fine, but I mean, most of their work is not, and there are good individual performances. Honestly, I love Dan Green as Yugi. I think it's amazing, but and Eric Stewart as Kaiba.
Oh yeah.
Performance wise, they're great. It's the scripts and the editing.
I fucking hate the 4 Kids dub of One Piece, but most people will generally agree that Mark DeRison was an amazing Zoro.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But it was just the script and the direction that he was given was just really bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's always a matter. It's usually not the actors, although sometimes it is the actors, but usually a matter of script, direction, priorities, editing, and just the overall approach to the material.
I feel bad for Bella Hudson because, like, God, that woman got put into just the worst positions in 4 Kids dubs, and a lot of the stuff that she does is just really bad there. But if you listen to Bella Hudson outside of 4 Kids dubs, she's really good.
I don't know who that is, but I'll take your word for it.
She used to play Blaze the Cat in the Sonic series.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
This one's about Galaxy Empress 999, which I have not seen, so I'm not reading it.
Okay.
World building is super overrated. I'd rather have interesting characters, plots, or themes. As an extent, I think he means an example. I think a certain magical index is terrible and don't get why it has so many fans. Well, I don't know anything about that series. I do agree. If you only have interesting world building and nothing else to prop it up, it's probably not going to be a very entertaining show.
Very true. Very true.
So I agree.
Like,
I can't think of too many anime that actually fit that criteria, but I agree in theory.
Yeah, because like an interesting world is only as engaging as the characters and stories taking place within it.
Yeah.
So I understand that. It's just, again, I can't think of very many series that fall under that particular description.
Yeah, I'm sure if you gave me a while, I could think of something, but nothing's coming to me.
Besides, what little I've seen of Index is actually pretty good. So, yeah.
This person says all fan service is good. Yeah. I can probably think of a few individual instances that are maybe tonally weird for the scenes they're in or whatever, but like in general, yeah, it's good as a concept.
Broadly speaking, I agree. Yeah. Also, I just like boobs.
Stardust Crusaders is the best JoJo's part. I like it more than most.
I do really like Stardust Crusaders. My personal favorite is Golden Wind.
Yeah.
But, and mind you, my favorite was actually Diamond is Unbreakable for a long time.
Yeah.
Up until the anime for Part 5 came out, and we actually had a good translation for it.
Yeah.
No, Part 3 is really, really good. It has a really strong central conflict and very strong ensemble cast.
Yes, that's what somebody here says. It does drag in the middle of the first part, but more than made up for it later. I like the gradual exploration into stand powers a lot, and it set the stage up for later parts. Plus, the character chemistry is off the charts. I don't think anything later comes close to the bromance of Stardust Crusaders.
Oh, absolutely. Like the fucking interplay between Jotaro, Joseph, Polnareff, Kakuin, and Avdol is just fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I think that has a lot. Not only the flushing out of this new system, but also that camaraderie. I think was a big part of why it took off in the '80s, like in the early '90s, like it did. I think you can attribute a lot of JoJo's longevity and success to just how well that was done.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can agree there. I won't say it's the I won't say it's not my favorite part, but I understand why someone would consider it the best part. It's still very, very good.
Yeah. Okay, this guy's got a lot of bullet lists.
Oh boy.
Goblin Slayer is not about killing goblins. It's an AD&D player who understands that dungeon crawl is a horror genre, not an adventure. I only saw the first episode, but I can already agree with that.
I can see where that's coming from.
High School DxD is a feminist anime. I'll take your word for it.
He may be onto something there, actually. There is like no, the main character actually, like, the main male character actually does have to get supported by the female protagonists quite frequently, and like it's mostly a female dominated series with very strong characters. Yeah, you could make that argument. Huh.
Most people who talk about JoJo have never watched a single JoJo episode. In totality of the universe, maybe. Speaking Yeah, people like...
The only people who don't like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure have never watched it.
Speaking of the power of friendship, the power of friendship is a real thing and y'all need better friends.
I agree.
Yeah.
I fucking love power of friendship as a trope. That's fucking awesome. That's why I love magical girl anime. That shit slaps.
Some harem anime teaches men how to be better at men. Some, theoretically. I imagine.
Some.
Yeah. I could see it, but it's it really. I'm gonna need some examples because there's a lot of them where it's way too passive to learn anything from.
Yeah, you're gonna have to really narrow it down here. Like, what you talking about here?
Yeah,
I really gotta know.
I think I know what you're getting on to.
Yeah.
But I want some examples on my desk Monday.
Or you fail this class.
Getting angry about CGI in anime is annoying and stupid, except when it's not. What a non-committal opinion. This is some
What the fuck does this mean?
This is some fucking Drake. Sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I don't shit. Wow, insightful. Let's see.
I hate movies, except for when I don't. Like, huh?
Speaking of how lonely I am, if I watch one more romance anime where the male protagonist freaks out over an indirect kiss, I'm going to remove my head and carry it under my arm like a goddamn Irish myth. I don't know. It's almost... In my recollection, it's almost never the male character that gets freaked out by that. It's almost always the girl, isn't it?
It's usually the female character because, like, the whole thing about that entire, like, thing is that, like, the male character is just kind of, like, doing his thing and he's oblivious, or he's, you know, trying to make an advance on the girl.
Or he doesn't know what the fucking indirect kiss is because he's not a complete loser.
Yeah, and, like, the girl has this entire, like, thing in her head of, like, this ideal romance, and an indirect kiss is, like, a severe show of affection, which is...
My
like,
lips
really
have touched the same space occupation that his lips have touched. It's a weird concept if you think about it too hard.
It really is. It really is. So,
I don't dislike it, it's just a weird concept.
Yeah.
Hating on redo of Healer is transphobic. I want an essay about why that's the case. Please inform me.
There is a lot to unpack there. Please elaborate.
On my desk Monday. What the fuck? Oh, he says Gurren Lagann is mid.
You're free to that opinion. Everyone is allowed to be wrong.
Hunter x Hunter is a show about a pedophile dressed like a clown helping a pair of delinquents find a deadbeat dad. When does he do that?
He d- d-
He might help them with
what?
occasional short-term goals, but that's... No.
He's kind of just doing his own thing, and he's not even in the show for like 60% of it. What?
Yeah, this is weird. He makes...
Did you just watch York New and leave? Like what?
This sounds like a... He's describing it like it's a Huckleberry Finn adventure with Uncle Ahsoka or something. No, it's not.
But with significantly less racism.
Isekai is a great genre and you'll need to chill. They need to make less of it and make the ones they are making better. It's a matter... It's a matter of oversaturation.
It needs to be. There needs to be less isekai, and the isekai that do this need to be better, more individualized, and have better gimmicks and hooks and more consistent world building, rather than just being like, "Oh, it's an isekai, but I'm a fridge."
I'm a sentient hot spring, and naked women bathe inside of me.
Okay, that one has potential.
That's real, by the way.
I know.
Let's see here. Witch from Mercury is a bad and dumb Gundam show.
Tell me you haven't seen Gundam outside of 0079 without telling me you haven't seen Gundam outside of 0079.
I mean, he also says Iron-Blooded Orphans is one of the best, so...
Oh, shit. Do you just hate gay people?
He also says 00 Season 2 is terrible, but I don't know what that means.
Oh my god, you hate gay people and you're stupid!
He also says anyone who says Code Geass is a smart show is an idiot.
Oh, guess we're stupid too. Great.
Yeah. He also says Hellsing is bad no matter what anime you look at. I don't know that. That's not even a proper sentence.
Okay, now we're getting into the spicy ones. Oh yeah.
The same guy also says FMA 2003 is better than a better show than Brotherhood in pretty much every way. Every way? Okay. I can understand the argument that there are a lot of scenes that are directorially better in 2003. But as far as overall direction and consistency and where the plot ends up, no. No. Let's see. Somebody said Deku is the worst MC of all time, and someone's like, have you seen Rent-A-Girlfriend?
That's a great response.
Yep. Let's see here.
Have you seen Rent-A-Girlfriend? Thank you. Could not have said it better myself.
The ending of Your Lie in April made me hate the main blonde bitch. If you ask me, the cancer wasn't strong enough. I understand your point.
I know, I see what you're saying, but holy shit.
This person says the ending to Darlie Fro was good. Yes, the actual ending I think is pretty good. It's the climax that's weird and was clearly suffering from a lack of schedule. But yeah, the actual ending I do like.
I'm sorry, the cancer wasn't strong enough. I'm still stuck on that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Oh, gee. Oh, jeez. Pardon you, sir.
I'm sorry. Okay, this thread. I run out of things on this thread, so I'm gonna look for another one.
To be fair, to be fair, what we did find with that was very consistently entertaining.
Let's go back a little bit.
Yep. The cancer wasn't strong enough.
Okay, somebody says, the most original and unique... This is a different thread. The most original and unique thing that anime brings to the table are the low-conflict slice-of-life shows.
kukike or iyashike. Pretty much every other genre of anime has some equivalent in Western media: action, romance, mystery, thriller, adventure, comedy. But there's really nothing in Western media that's like Yuru Camp, K-On!, Flying Witch, Nanon Biori, etc.
That is a very good. That is a
I
very good point to
I
make.
guess, I mean, sitcoms exist, but you know,
Sitcoms exist, but a lot of those focus on individualized conflicts and don't really have a whole lot of focus on just having, uh, just chill vibes and just focusing on like good
yeah. Somebody
character
says here,
interaction,
all the sitcoms,
carrying
all the
the plot.
sitcoms I've seen have dramatic conflict and some form of awkward social situations. I think sitcoms like Frasier are pretty infamous for that. But even
Oh yeah.
Seinfeld is famous for being a show about. Even Seinfeld, a show famous for being a show about nothing, usually has episodes centered on some social conflict, but escalates it to ridiculous degrees.
Yeah, and that's a very key difference between that and a lot of slice of life anime because a lot of these slice of life anime just focus on having strong characters just go through their daily lives.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're really just there for the friendship, the camaraderie between them, and just watching them navigate everyday life. And that has its own kind of like comfort food appeal to it. So yeah, I actually do agree with this quite a bit. That is a very unique thing that anime has going for it.
Yeah. This person says there needs to be more horror anime, more Higurashi type anime and manga anime like Another, Tokyo Ghoul. I think better whatever. I Lil, more fucked up anime like King's Game. I'm a sucker for horror anime and manga. It's my favorite genre. I need more Batooms and Gaunts, more psychological horror that makes you squirm uncomfortably. But there's nothing made lately. The genre is practically dead in the water and it sucks. Nothing is gory or horrifying anymore, and the things that do get released can't even be called psychological horror.
Yeah, the whole thing with that is that like a really good horror anime requires really strong writing and really strong production.
Mm-hmm.
And with the thing that I've found is that like even with even with some studios adapting major works from like Junji Ito,
Mm-hmm.
they run into the problem of they don't have the like they might have the writing of Junji Ito to work off of, but they don't have the production quality to actually express the ideas and concepts to a satisfying degree in animation. So it just kind of ends up being a pale imitation of the manga. This is a bit of a pull back from like 8 years ago, but the anime adaptation of Pupa
Yeah.
was if particularly notorious for this.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the manga is very well liked and considered to be a great little piece of
Yeah,
horror
I
manga.
didn't finish it, but I did read quite a bit of it, and I liked it.
So like, and like the anime just fell apart in the production and like just it did not do a very good job of.
It was also a
of
short
representing the
form, which
source
is
material.
it's also a short form, which was probably the worst format for horror.
Yeah, it's really hard to build a strong,
Atmosphere.
impactful atmosphere in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I want more. I want more horror anime too. It's just industry chases trends. Horror is neat. Anime is niche. Horror is niche. It's a niche within a niche. A lot of people that get into the production side of it aren't really the people who are driven to make anime generally aren't people who are like they're into like what exists in anime format. They're not really into horror. It's just one of those things
Yeah.
where the cross section isn't as big as you'd think it would be. So not only is there a disinterest from the people making things, but there's also a disinterest commercially because horror is so niche. So yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah. This comment's 7 months old, so I'm not gonna say it. But this person should probably watch Dark Gathering when it airs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I have my issues with it, but in terms of like providing disturbing stories, it's got them.
Things gonna get spooky.
Yep. This person says, I don't really care for key style melodrama. It feels too emotionally manipulative to me.
Oh, there's that word.
Nick
again.
Creamer, is that you? Are you on ANN?
That's it. Taking away that.
Are you on our anime? Are you Sorcerer of the Lake?
I'm taking that word away from you people because you don't know how to fucking use it. You can get this back when you're done.
I will say, Nakige works better in its original format at times because it has a lot longer to develop these things. When you're adapting it, you have to compress more of those emotional moments into a shorter time span. So I can,
That just reminds me. Uh, Sheridan was getting me to watch the first few episodes of the Fruit of Grisaya anime,
yeah,
and uh, and this was like about like I don't know like 2 months ago, um, and we watched through the first arc. Now, you came into the problem going through the original visual novel of it having way too much setup and actually being like too wordy for its own good. Uh, the anime overcorrects for that, and it actually ends up being too fast, and the drama comes out of fucking nowhere.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, I think the problem with a lot of anime that adapt um, visual novels that have these kind of like crying game elements uh, is just that because they have to adapt to compensate for a shorter runtime, a lot of the emotional build-up, character development, whatever it has to be, either truncated, sped through, or reconfigured in a way that like you don't really get the same level of long-term uh, slow burn development that the visual novel gives you.
yeah,
So it can come off significantly less impactful as a result.
yeah. And also,
Um,
any genre that sells itself on melodrama or just drama, I suppose, is going to vary a lot from reader to reader or viewer to viewer in terms of what they emotionally resonate with or what they connect with. Um,
Yeah. Um, some people consider Clannad to be one of the best drama anime ever made. I will agree with that, actually.
sure.
It's one of my personal favorite anime. Um, but I've also seen plenty of other people say that they couldn't get into Clannad and they don't actually find it nearly as emotionally investing or engaging as it should be, and they find a lot of the drama to be a little bit convoluted,
Sure.
uh, specifically designed to make the viewer cry, which I
I do.
guess.
I think that criticism is a self-fulfilling prophecy, though, because if you know it going in, you're like, oh, this show's trying to make me cry, so I.
Yeah,
It's like they start taking it like a try not to laugh challenge, where they're like, you're not gonna get me cry. I'm
yeah,
not gonna care.
people start to think that they're above the material, and
Yeah,
I
well,
think that's doing a disservice to the
they
material.
interact with it the wrong way, where they
Yeah,
don't give it that chance to actually have that impact on them, and
yeah,
they almost go into it thinking like a challenge, like a try not to laugh challenge, where it's like, I don't care about that. No, no, I see what you're doing there. You're trying to make me care about this character. Well, I'm not going to.
yeah,
And they wouldn't have that reaction if they didn't have that expectation that it was trying to get a reaction out of them. But
yeah.
here's a spoiler alert: every story worth its salt is trying to get some kind of reaction out of you.
Yeah,
It's
like,
Jun Maeda doesn't have a patent on that. He just is well known for it, you know.
yeah,
So it's a dumb self-fulfilling prophecy kind of criticism.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Let's see here.
Ah, that could have given me an opportunity to bitch about myself, yourself. Okay, whatever.
I mean, you can go off. I don't care.
No, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
I made the point I had to make.
Sure, sure. Okay, somebody says, if somebody doesn't watch older anime, I'm broadly going to assume their opinions are less meaningful. If you are exclusively consuming only recent content, your perspective is inherently limited, and it's a shame that it's common in the community to completely cut things off that aren't current. Likewise, this can be applied to anime as a whole. If you're only consuming anime and not branching up beyond that, you're reducing your perspective. I think it depends on the standpoint of where someone is arguing from.
Yeah,
If you're not making, as long as you make clear what your perspective is and what your experience is, and you argue for things, and you argue about things in that sphere of influence, I don't think there's a problem with that. I agree that being more well-rounded and more well-read will generally make you better at media criticism and analysis, but that's not everyone's goal. In fact,
Yeah.
that's not most people's goal. Most people just want
Yeah.
to watch things that interest them.
Yeah. Like, for me, the reason why I watch a lot of old anime from, like, the 70s, 80s, and 90s is because I like seeing how a lot of genres have developed over time. And sometimes a lot of these older shows have a very particular tone, or they have a very particular uh, storytelling style that you don't really get these days in terms of anime.
Sure.
And that just kind of like that very much fascinates me. Some of my favorite anime are from like the 80s and 90s. Um, so like I enjoy it because there is a historical perspective, but also I just find it very entertaining.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing, is that like I enjoy watching this stuff because it entertains me. I like I enjoy, a lot of modern anime and how complex it can be, and all the modern, production and stuff, but like
Mm-hmm.
I also like older anime that are simpler and have more, for lack of a better term, a bit more scuff to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people enjoy that sort of historical analysis and seeing how mediums build upon themselves. I do that with
Yeah.
I do that with games. I don't do that with anime a lot beyond stuff I grew up with, but I do that. I do that with games.
Oh, absolutely.
And some, you can do that with any medium that's been around forever, but not everyone's in it for that. Some people just want to. Some people just want to watch entertaining things and be able to talk with them with other people. And an important caveat to that second part is that more people are willing to have a conversation with you if they've also seen it. So more current things, it sort of leans that direction, you know.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to people about Shana, but nobody's watching that these days, you know. So, it kind of pushes you in that staying current direction, just so you find people that are more likely to have seen it, and so you're more likely to have conversations about it. That's what most people
Oh, yeah.
value more than the historical properties of it. I don't think most people actually have all that much. People don't have any kind of inclination against older things or older ideas a lot of the time. It's just a consequence of other factors.
Yeah.
Which is why when things get rebooted or remade or whatever, people jump on it, because like, oh, well, now it's new and fresh and people are talking about it, so I can, it's a good opportunity to see those ideas revisited and join that conversation. That's why I think those things are good, because it allows those old ideas new spotlight, and so people who are not willing to people who are
best
not willing to
example.
go. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, best example of that in recent years is fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, oh, yeah, obviously. This happens in games constantly. I played through the Dead Space remake recently, and it really, everyone, not that, people always liked Dead Space, but now a whole new crop of people, 15 years later, get to experience a more refined version of the original Dead Space and see how special it is. And I think that's, and fucking the Metroid Prime remaster has done that for a lot.
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely.
Especially after people had such a great introduction. Well, yeah, I guess reintroduction in Dread, and then following that up with a Prime remaster that's so well done, is getting a lot of people into the franchise for the first time. So like, I like reboots and remasters and remakes for that reason, because it gives old ideas that spotlight to reconnect with current audiences again. But there's always going to, it just depends. Like, more to the comment though, not everyone wants to be a media critic or historical analyst. Some people just want to watch things that are interesting to them. So depending on, I definitely agree that it's annoying when someone who started watching anime 3 years ago and has only ever watched what comes out seasonally tries to argue about the history of the medium or whatever. That shit's annoying. Yeah. But most people aren't like that.
Yeah, it's just a very small handful of very loud idiots.
Yeah, I don't try to argue
I don't try to seriously argue things beyond my experience. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into whatever diatribe about, you know, anything about 80s anime because I haven't fucking seen 80s anime, and I don't really have that much interest in it. So I'm not gonna argue anything much about it. I'm only gonna
Yeah,
talk from my own experience.
Yeah, that's why Zeke defers to me for that.
Sure, yeah. You know, I think this is mostly just getting on to the fact that a lot of people are dumb and talk beyond what they know, and I don't try to do that, and I think we should all try not to do that. But also, not everyone wants to be a media critic.
Yeah.
Moving along. Okay, people were talking about that one for a while.
That one's that's a hot one.
If the material is still good or interesting, I don't care if a rom-com has no confession for 5 seasons. The whole "will they confess already" is the biggest monkey's paw in anime. 99% of the time, the series ends right after the confession. So if you're highly invested in a rom-com and you watch 3 seasons of it and you just want them to confess to get a cute 5-minute scene and the anime's over, you lose these characters you've invested in for 3 years. Will there never be any more scenes with them? Is that really worth it? It's like, imagine if you root for a team to win in some sports league, but if they ever actually win, they get disbanded. Would that be a good thing? You supported them for 15 years, then they suddenly win and they disappear. Are you going to start rooting for another team to win and disappear, I guess? Sure, it's fun to see a win, whether in a sport or in a rom-com, but not if it means it's the last you see of them.
Well, yeah, I agree, but it's also not...
I'm not a big fan of romances that end at confession to begin with. I think that's a dated approach to it.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, I understand their point. I also don't want them to rush into it either, because there's a really good quote.
I'm paraphrasing. It's from the author of Mysterious Girlfriend X, where he said a lot of people like to rush to the climaxes of romance, but there's a lot of interesting and engaging things that can happen in the lead up to that.
Yeah.
Those moments of blooming and blossoming romance before anything actually happens, all the little things that build up to it, and I agree with that, and I also think there's a lot to explore after the confession. So I think, yeah, I do agree that people can be impatient in this regard, and I think that format is very dated and lacks a lot of interesting potential.
You know, it's funny. There are actually 2 anime that we just talked about that cover both ends of the spectrum, both the lead up to the confession and everything after, pretty effectively in both a comical and dramatic standpoint. On the comical end of the spectrum, you have Takagi-san, which the manga creator literally was just like, it's a foregone conclusion that these 2 are going to get together. I'm making a sequel anyway. And the sequel's really good. And Clannad has After Story,
Yeah.
which is just everything after Tomoya and Nagisa get together.
Yeah. Somebody says, and I'd like more adult protagonists. Now, this may be part of my age. I'm in my mid-40s now. I can tell because your Reddit username is literally your name. So my teenage years are far behind me, but it really feels at times like the average age of a Japanese anime protagonist is like 16. Lots of good stories to be told about adults. Look, I'm all for more stories for everyone, but you also got to understand where you are.
Yeah. So the reason why, so there's a variety of reasons why anime protagonists trend so young.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just because it's a medium that inherently appeals to a younger demographic of preteens, teenagers, and young adults. People who are, you know, at most in their early 30s, who maybe have a little bit of reminiscence for their high school years.
That's a huge fucking thing in Japanese life.
Absolutely.
In Japanese culture, your life peaks in high school. You spend the rest of your life working for some dipshit company.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people have a fondness and like to vicariously re-experience that through media in Japan. That's sad, but it's the reality.
Another element of it is just that it's a lot easier to write stories for younger protagonists because these are characters who, inherently, due to their age and where they are in society, have more room to grow. They have more energy.
They have more time to do shit.
they have more time to do shit, and they have more clear strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I went on a whole fucking tangent once about why I like writing teenagers, and it's because they're at that apex of growth and change just naturally. So it's
Yeah.
very easy to fit arcs into that because they're not so set in their ways. But they also, in most settings, have the flexibility and the time to believably have adventures and such.
Yeah.
And I think in the crux of storytelling, well, it's not the be all end all. I think it's by far the most flexible position your characters can be in, and that's kind of why. That's one of the reasons why I really like it so much. I I'm not gonna. I'm never say never. I don't know if I'd ever. I don't know if I'd ever commit resources. I don't know if I'd ever commit my mind to writing a long form story that wasn't about teenagers. Just
Yeah,
because
and
that's what interests me, and I'm almost 30 myself, so it should be theoretically far behind me, but like, nah, like mentally, like it's never. I that's what I wanted to write when I was a teenager, and that's what I want to write now. I don't really see that changing, and there are definitely authors like that. There are authors in their fucking 70s that write about teenagers.
Oh yeah.
So I don't really vibe with these. We see this perspective a lot from like older anime fans that are like in their 40s or whatever, and there's like,
Yeah.
why aren't there more stories? I know they don't sound that old, but it's like, why aren't there more stories
Yeah.
about my generation? And it's like, well, a lot of factors. And I think you're I don't think I'm not gonna begrudge you for wanting to see things like that, but also there are other mediums for that. If you want adult protagonists and adult problems, there are plenty of films about that, plenty of TV shows.
Yeah.
Anime isn't there right now, and I just because of the cultural standpoint of Japanese culture and how they view these things, I don't know if it'll ever be a super mainstay thing.
Yeah.
So it might just not be. You might want to supplement it with stories from other mediums that are more willing to go into those things. Because I agree, there's a lot of interesting. There are definitely things you can't do with teenagers. I will say that.
Yeah.
That are very valuable and interesting narratively, but
Hope you should watch Psychopaths.
that's all. I mean, that's also true. There is stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
But also, also, that's probably also part of his point as well. Is that like, for a guy in his mid-40s, is there a huge difference between a 16-year-old and like a 25-year-old up and coming like?
That's another good point. Yeah.
You know,
but
they're
still fairly young.
They're probably talking about stories about people in their like mid of life, their 40s, their 50s, whatever.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot less common. You'll find more of that in manga. Like I think Josei manga has quite a bit of that.
Yeah, Josei and Seinen manga have a fair bit more of that, so you might look there.
That stuff isn't normally as commonly adapted for various reasons, but yeah, I would recommend some manga or some other mediums for that.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't have a problem with anime focusing mostly on teenagers. That's part of what appeals to me about it, and I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah.
Somebody even said here, try manga. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna skip the loli debate. We're not doing that today.
Oh boy.
I thought Steins Gate was boring as fuck. I think you're boring as fuck.
Something.
Another one about Steins Gate. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Somebody says they completely lost interest after episode 8 of Gurren Lagann.
Oh, I'm sorry, but like, literally all of the best character development and all of the best like thematic through lines happen after that. Fuck. I'm sorry, it irritates people. It kind of irritates me when people do this, because like they get too attached to, you know, the one character, and when that character gets written out of the show, it's like, well, now what do I do? Keep watching and find out, bitch.
Somebody says isekai will stay for another 20 years at least. That's a good thing. They are much better than battle harems. Multiple points. 1, I hope not. 2, those things are not mutually exclusive. And 3, can we have more battle harems, please?
Can we
I
have
miss
more
them.
battle harems, please?
I miss them.
I should read Negima.
Let's see here.
You know what? Can we get a readaptation of Negima? That would be nice.
Why are most anime afraid of doing actual sex scenes? Western shows and movies literally have fully nude banging sessions. Keep in mind these scenes are able to portray a magnitude of themes and emotions, whether it's two broken people learning to connect or intense longing and love being finally felt. Anime needs to step up its game outside of hentai. Television standard restriction. They're on television.
Yeah, something you'll see a lot if you look at anime news headlines is that even when an anime is specifically intended for an older audience of adults and features strongly sexual material, there will still be complaints being lodged by parent-teacher associations and shit like that because this stuff is on TV at all.
Sure.
And is
that's also not untrue of Western television either. You'll notice a lot of shows that have actual sex scenes are like on HBO or whatever. They're like on premium subscription channels packages and not like basic cable packages.
Comparatively, a lot of these anime air on basic cable. There are some exceptions that air on like premium satellite channels, but typically those versions are aired uncensored, and only adults are going to be able to afford that anyway. So it's kind of a non-issue at that point.
Yeah, you're not going to see that on normal television stations in either hemisphere.
Yeah, not everything is going to be as raunchy as Akistora. I'm sorry.
Okay, someone says, Made in Abyss is bad, I really don't get it. Of course I can appreciate cool backgrounds and creature designs, but I only consume the story as a venture into a great horror artist Twitter account. I didn't get it for a while either, but I think eventually it got me around the end of Season 1 into the movie, and then Season 2 I really liked. So I think it just has a bad beginning.
Yeah. If what really got me initially about Made in Abyss was that atmosphere and that like visual design, but I will admit the things don't really start to coalesce until the second half of Season 1, and especially during Dawn of the Deep Soul.
I was especially enjoying it when it got to went through Season 2. I thought I increasingly thought this is a very unique work of fantasy, actually.
Yeah.
It's unlike I'll say this about Maiden Abyss. It's not like anything else I've seen. Not really.
It's very unique. Maiden Abyss is a very unique series.
Yeah. Let's see here. Sorry. It's another it's a Rudius complaint I don't want to get into, but he ends it with pre-Kone over Konosuba, and someone just replied, "Wow." Yeah, I'm not taking Rudius criticisms at this time. It is not the day for that.
Yeah. Please lodge a formal complaint with the I Don't Give a Fuck Bureau.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I don't know if this is hot, but Battle Shonen just isn't that good anymore. I haven't been a huge fan of the recent crop, honestly. I have issues of jump policies and practices that I don't want to get into here because we'd be here forever.
Funny enough, I was actually having a conversation about this earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, My Hero Academia just kind of came up with the conversation, and I just went on the whole spiel about like Jump editorial staff and shit.
Oh, this guy's going for my jugular. I have been watching anime religiously for the past 20 years, and Shinza Kayori is one of the worst stories I've ever watched. Everyone's decision making is incredibly stupid. People keep sleepwalking into big
Uh,
trouble because they don't take the obvious decisions, and plot progression is based on. You get that they're children for most of that, right? I get annoyed because I really like everything else about it: music, animation, voice acting, world building, premise. They're my hot take.
I don't
Sure.
like this story because the flawed characters aren't acting perfectly. How dare they?
The
Fuck you.
The
I
flawed
hate.
the flawed
I
characters keep making decisions based on misinformation and hurt feelings. It really gets to me.
I fucking hate these kinds of media criticisms because it boils down to it doesn't boil down to whether or not a character decision makes sense for the character or makes for good conflict or whether or not it produces good drama or whatever. It's really just a matter of, well, I wouldn't have done this in this situation.
Well,
Well, you're not the fucking character, are you, dumb fuck?
if I was
Sorry.
If I was Mrs. McAllister, I simply would not have left my son home alone.
I just this is the worst kind of media criticism, and this keeps happening. It keeps fucking happening. There are always these people that exist,
Yeah.
who think they are above the material and who are like, well, I wouldn't have done this in this situation. But the problem is, they don't want to empathize with these characters, and they don't want to put themselves into these characters' shoes and understand their thought process and their viewpoint.
Yeah.
They just want to be right.
It's like that one skit. It's like that one Scream skit where they're like, "Let's stand back to back in the center of the room holding knives until the police arrive." It's like, oh, okay. I guess we just don't have a story then.
Exactly. Is that what you want? Is that what you want?
Yeah, I want. Yeah, I want to. I want to watch 100. I want to watch
a
120 minutes of three people standing back to back in the center of a room holding knives, so the ghost face can't get close.
Yeah.
While they wait for
like,
police to show up. Come on.
Come on.
Let's see here.
This is something that I've gone on about before, but like I'm always gonna just be very irritated by people who do shit like this. It's like, why are you consuming stories if you don't want conflict to happen?
Yeah.
Like, at that point, just listen to music and stop watching things. Stop consuming fiction, because clearly this isn't for you.
Sorry, somebody.
Mr. I'm so much smarter.
Somebody's going on a rant about Higurashi Sotsu, and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't watch that then. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. I've always felt Ryukishio 7 was overrated, and now I finally feel justified. Thank you.
Well, good for you.
The Danganronpa THH anime did a wonderful job translating all the important plot points and did so in a way that did not feel rushed. They also improved on the executions, a great way for someone to get into the franchise.
No.
It's kind of rushed.
It's kind of rushed, and the executions have slightly more movement, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Just play the game. The game's not that long. It's like
You got.
yeah,
It's 30 hours.
Nah, I'd say closer to 20, honestly. Yeah, just play the game. It's accessible. You can get it for very cheap. You can run on anything. There's fucking mobile versions now. It's on Switch. It's on PC.
You can play it on your fucking phone now.
It's so accessible, and it's not a huge commitment just to play the first game. The anime doesn't have a purpose anymore.
It really doesn't.
Let's see here.
I would argue it didn't have a purpose to begin with. Ooh, who said that?
Moving along. Most anime are dog shit. Mal ratings are overinflated. Anything below a 7.5 is unwatchable.
Well, I'm glad you get all of your opinions from Mal. That tells me that your opinions mean nothing to me.
Wow, I didn't know Roycon was on Reddit. Shout out to anyone who got that. Let's see here. Gurren Lagann is an overly pretentious farce with a bullshit moral and a spineless pussy for protagonist.
But did you watch past episode 8?
I really want to know what okay, this person... I don't know. The comment was removed by moderator, but I don't know what they're replying to. Oh, their comment was removed since it included untagged or wrongly tagged spoilers.
Okay.
But the response said, grooming ruins the story in terms of writing most of the time. It's hard to portray effects in well-written ways without coming off as pedobait fantasy unless you're Nabokov. I don't know what fucking show they're talking about.
What the Whoa!
I really want to know what show.
Oh, that went from a 1 to a 10 real fast. Damn.
This person says Dunmachi is dog shit. You're dog shit. I hate you, personally. My appreciation for Dunmachi has only continued to grow with each new season, and it's also maybe retroactively look at earlier seasons in a more positive light as well. I really like Dunmachi. I'm a stan machi. That's what I am.
Based in Dungeon Pilled.
Yeah, I look at the fucking like 6.5 I gave the first season in 2015 or whatever. I'm like, if only you knew. If only you knew where this was going. Oh, this is a fucking hot one. Cowboy Bebop is good, I guess, but Shinichiro no Watanabe's later works, mainly Shampoo and Dandy, build on the ideas presented and ultimately become more complete works. No.
I actually, okay, Dandy, no. Samurai Champloo, you may have an idea there, because
I don't know if I describe that as a later work, though. That wasn't that much later.
No, that was like 6 years later.
It's still a long time ago, is what I'm saying.
True.
When they say later works, I'm thinking like Zankyo no Terror.
Right.
Like, I think Watanabe hasn't been good in a long time. I think he lost his mojo like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I actually do prefer Samurai Champloo over Cowboy Bebop, so I agree on that.
Would you just... Yeah, okay, but would you word it like this? Would you say, Cowboy Bebop is good, I guess? But...
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because, like, the whole thing is that, like, the only real thematic through line between the two of them is, like, broken adults navigating an inherently unfair society.
Yeah.
So, like...
But aside from
otherwise, it's very different.
Yeah, they don't... It's... Okay, so it's like, those two don't feel comparable to me, and also Dandy is dumb.
Yeah.
This comment is stupid, and I think Watanabe lost his mojo 20 years ago. Yeah. Zankyo no Terror is one of the worst fucking things I've ever seen.
School Days is nowhere near the worst anime ever. And would be another forgettable romance anime if it had adapted any other endings. I don't know if it would be... yeah, no, okay, yes, it's nowhere near the worst. But I actually think the anime is an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
I really like the visual novel. I think the visual novel is frankly unadaptable. And that just comes from the sheer... what's the word? Modularity of the routes. They don't work like traditional routes. It is like, it's almost like a I've shown you the flowchart before.
Yeah.
It's fucking chaos theory in motion.
It turns into a spider web.
Yeah. You can't get that effect in anime. It's the subtleties. It's the subtleties of the character writing that result from the most minute of decisions you can make in the game that branch off into all these different directions. I don't think it's one of the greatest things ever, but I think it's very impressive how complex they can make such a simple premise and storyline just by the sheer modularity of individual decisions. And I really respect the visual novel for that.
I don't think it's forgettable to me, even if it isn't the most even if it premise and content wise isn't the most ambitious thing. The way they take that simple outline and modulate it to such an insane degree with all these subtle changes in characterization is very impressive to me. But again, I think that's kind of what makes it unadaptable.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work in a linear format, which is why they didn't do that, which is why they decided to just go with one of a hodgepodge of some of the worst endings and make it a shock value thing to get more eyes on the visual novel, which I think is probably the smartest thing they could have done. balls on a studio, I guess.
I guess.
Nowadays I'm less enthused with them because they shoved everyone into VTubing.
Right.
You have to admit,
That's another conversation.
you have to admit, Overflow getting into the VTubing scene so late, repurposing characters who canonically weren't even gamers, is pretty cringe.
Yeah, what the fuck is Kotonoha doing playing video games? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was supposed that it seems like such a small fucking thing, but like what it's literally like one of the it's one of the things that's supposed to point you towards Sakai is that she likes arcades and stuff, whereas you ask Kotonoha to go and she's like, oh, I don't really like those things, and she prefers to like read by herself or whatever, and that's like, it's those sort of, that divergence of interests is supposed to be like, you can't have all that you want in one person, so like it's one of those little things that's supposed to push you towards Sakai instead if you feel so inclined. So the fact that they completely scrub over that to make her a fucking VTuber just because she's the more marketable character is so fucking weird to me. I don't know what Overflow does. I don't know what Overflow's been doing these days. I think
I don't know what they've been doing, but it's been weird.
I think I'm kind of shocked they're still around. Actually, I think they're clawing for relevance.
Oh, they absolutely are.
Anyway, all right, that's that thread ran dry. That thread is over and done with. That thread is kaput. Kaputskis. Filler, anime original content, or deviations from source material are not inherently bad things. Yes.
True. There are some filler arcs and some filler episodes that actually do offer some interesting either character insight, character interactions, or even just a really good self-contained story.
Yeah.
One of the most well-liked arcs of One Piece is the G8 arc that comes right after Skypiea, and that is 100% anime original. But it's considered to be one of the strongest arcs of One Piece because it has really strong character dynamics, a really fun centralized story, and a really cool, kind of unusual antagonist for One Piece. Like, it's very unique for One Piece, but it's also just, it fits so nicely into the timeline of the series.
Yeah.
So generally people are like, oh yeah, read the manga, but after Skypiea, watch G8.
Yeah. Your opinion on an anime is the only one that should matter. If you like or dislike a show, it shouldn't matter what I or anyone else thinks. Yeah. Yes.
Probably, yeah. I agree with that.
Yes. Yeah. Similarly, a show is worth watching if you enjoy watching it. The only way to tell if you enjoy watching it is to watch the damn anime.
Yes.
I think too many people are more interested in watching things that will impress people than watching things they enjoy. Oh, this guy thinks Dorada is better than Baccano. Yeah. my kind of people.
My man!
That was a lame slap. There we go. Yeah. I want more anime adaptations of short manga series of less than 5 volumes instead of anime adaptations that adapt the first 5 volumes of a series with 40 volumes. Although someone mentions, it's worth keeping in mind most short manga are only short because they got axed, not because they actually wanted to tell us that short a story.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Like,
also, even when they do that, they don't give it enough episodes and they kind of fuck it up like Erased. So, you know.
Honestly, I want more adaptations of older, kind of like middle-length manga series that never really got the full chance to have
I
an
do
opportunity
agree
at
though.
success.
I do agree though. I really enjoy good adaptations of shorter run manga that are complete and self-contained. One of my favorite recent examples is Kanata no Astra. I really enjoyed Kanata no Astra. They just Lurch just barely managed to cram the 5 volumes in there by skipping a lot of openings and endings, extending lengths in some places, and making the first and last episodes double length, and they just barely managed to fit into a core, but it was so tightly paced because of it.
Oh yeah.
I really recommend Kanata no Astra.
Yeah.
Hyoko was boring and the mysteries are disappointing. You're boring and your mysteries are disappointing. Fuck you. Okay, I will agree with the general. People are saying people set themselves up for failure by recommending it as a mystery show. I do agree. It's a mystery flavored drama show.
Yeah.
Not really a mystery show. Someone says yes, it is the first tag on Mal. That's a mistake. I will admit that. Still, I don't think that shouldn't be enough to color your entire opinion of it.
Yeah.
Every One Piece fight straight up sucks. Every one.
Everyone.
Every one of them.
Every fight.
Every one of them.
fucking one. Every single fight.
Every one.
Every one.
Every single one.
You sure?
I mean, clearly.
Because there's like, I don't know, like 150 fights in One Piece. You telling me every fucking one sucks?
If you spent 72 hours ranking them in a tier list, they'd all be an F. That's what you're saying.
All of them.
Some people don't think before they type.
You gotta love hyperbole, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No. Love me the hyperbole. I'll eat out of that. Everything Jun Maeda made is horrible, and someone's like, "What about his music, though?"
See,
A lot of hyperbole.
music's good. Honestly,
No.
I feel like people don't talk about his music enough.
Oh no, I love his music. The entire.
Dude, one of my favorite elements of Clannad is the fucking soundtrack.
Oh yeah, the entire fucking score of Little Busters I love.
Oh god, I love the Little Busters music.
Especially all of the character themes. I really fucking. You're gonna listen to Boys Cry or Boys Be or whatever. No, Boys Cry. Boys Cry and tell me it ain't fucking Goat. Get out of here.
Yeah, come on.
Boys
Fuck,
Be is
man.
that's a really old show. Never mind.
Yeah, Boys Cry. Boys Cry is different.
Yeah, you're gonna tell me Boys Cry, fucking My Heart Your Beats. You're gonna listen to that and not tell me.
Dude, why?
You're gonna listen to Ring 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 and not get at least not crack a smile. Fuck you. I like Jun Maeda.
Yeah, Jun Maeda fucking. I feel bad for the guy, honestly.
Yeah, I don't feel good when a guy gets bullied bullied so hard he has to escape and go off the grid multiple times. He has to go on multiple impromptu wilderness sabbaticals and not tell anyone. That's not a good thing to be.
Yeah, come on. Give the guy a break. He don't deserve this.
I think he's losing his mojo a bit as he gets older, but I mean, I believe in him. I think he can find it again if he commits himself.
Look, if Owl City can find his mojo, then so can Jun Maeda.
That's. I'll reserve judgment until the album comes out.
Yeah.
But no, people can get their mojo back.
Yeah.
But even so, he doesn't deserve being, publicly mocked.
Absolutely. There are so many worse writers who deserve that way more than him. Fuck,
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, here's another. There's a lot of One Piece ones in this thread for some reason. Sanji is gross and a huge pervert, and I don't see how anyone can ship him with any other character. He would just cheat on them and make them feel insecure by drooling over every other girl with a heartbeat. I would just feel bad for whoever he ends up with.
I get where they're coming from. Because, like, the biggest issue with it comes... The problem is how Sanji's writing has changed over time.
Yeah.
Because, how far into One Piece have you read, Zeke?
like. So as a kid, I watched through Arlong Park, and that's about as far as I got. And then when I was reading the manga like last year, I got like right up to the start of it, I think, and that was about so not very far at all.
Okay, so like Sanji early on. I want to clarify. He meant the 4Kids dub of Arlong Park.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Which we've gone over that already.
Don't worry, the knife was a fake.
I'm going to put you into the dungeon for the rest of your days.
What's that one fucking scene where like Usopp explains the entire fucking like fake out death scenario to Nami in the moment?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That fucking that's so fucking
yeah.
that's the most 4Kids scene of all time.
Just removes the entire mystery, and Nami's just like, okay, I threw down a smoke bomb. Pull out your fake rubber knife that you always have on you.
Someone was paid to write that, and then they were paid to voice it in the show.
And they had to fucking reiterate, remember, it's your rubber knife.
It's so fucking stupid.
It's so awful.
We should have brought that up when we were talking about 4Kids earlier, because how do you defend that?
That is the funniest fucking scene in all of 4Kids One Piece for all the wrong reasons.
So good.
Anyway,
back to Sanji or whatever.
Anyway, yeah, Sanji, motherfucker. Shit. The problem with Sanji and how he's written is that, like, early on, I would argue from Barate, where he's introduced, all the way up to Thriller Bark, which is pretty far into the series, is he's broadly written as someone who is a wannabe Casanova.
Sure.
But he's actually secretly just a massive dork.
Yeah.
He is awkward. He is goofy. He tends to overextend himself and make himself look like a fool. That's kind of Sanji's character early on, the wannabe Casanova who's actually a massive doofus. The problem is, beginning with Thriller Bark, Sanji begins to get characterized in a way that makes him a lot more openly simp-ish, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Where he fawns over girls a lot more, and, he's always, got hearts in his eyes, and seeing one single pretty girl makes him fucking turn into a friggin' idiot. All of his, suave, gentlemanly nature just completely gets stripped away. The only exception being Whole Cake Island, which is his fucking character development arc.
Yeah.
But even then, afterwards, his character just regresses again. And there are also a few scenes in the Wano arc where he tries to, like, openly... He tries to, like, openly peep on women in the bath and do a lot of, like, really gross, creepy shit. So,
sure.
Like, I kind of actually get where OP's coming from here, because Sanji's character development has actually regressed over time. That is, like, the actual worst part of the series.
I see.
Yeah. So, like, I kind of agree, actually. Sanji's a lot worse than he used to be.
Oh, my dog is barking.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing anything about it, I'm just telling you.
It just happens.
You're not hallucinating. That was, in fact, a dog barking.
Okay.
Someone said, Sword Art Online is overhated, and every new season is better than the previous one.
I agree with that.
Mostly, yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Like, broadly speaking, I agree.
Upward trajectory.
I've gotten into Sword Art Online recently, and while I still need to finish Alicization, it's really good, actually.
Japanese studios have no obligation to cave to Western Twitter fans. Anime and manga grew because of the comics industry went to shit by appeasing these fans that don't even consume the medium, or if they do, pirate most of it, gatekeep the people who want to change. I agree. I think your history is a little mixed up, but I agree in general.
You're a little confused, but it got the spirit.
Gatekeeping, good, actually.
Yes. That's what we've been saying.
Toradora is unwatchable in Japanese because Taiga's voice is unbearable. Oh. Oh.
Oh!
Oh.
Oh!
Oh.
How could you?
Oh, you're gonna fucking do Kugamiya like this? You gonna do this?
My darling Kugamiya, how could you?
Oh. Oh, like stake through my heart.
OP, I'm sorry.
I do really like Cassandra Lee Morris voices her in the dub. I really do like it though.
Her dub performance is really strong. Yeah. I do like the dub. I do like the dub.
I do like Cassandra Lee Morris a lot. But I gotta stand up for our girl Rie Kugamiya.
Absolutely, she's a fucking class act. Fucking love her.
Yep.
Why would you say that?
Someone said ReZero is the best isekai period. It's like, Bookworm exists. I'm like, get out of here.
Bookworm.
Ascendance.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Of all things you bring up Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Bookworm.
Bookworm. Bruh. Good lord.
Psychopaths 2 is as good as Psychopaths 1. I even like Season 2's villain a bit more.
Hold on, I'm sorry. That's like being like, fucking all magical girl anime is terrible. What about Twin Tail?
I don't know if I'd say I don't know if Bookworm's that bad.
I know, but still, yeah. Fuck.
I get it, you're still not over that, I get that.
I'm not, it's so... Why? God! Anyway.
Psychopaths 2 is as good as Psychopaths 1. I even like Season 2's villain a bit more. Makishima went between great and I'm 14, and this is deep between episodes. No, I agree. I think people who don't like Psychopaths Season 2 forget about how pulpy and dumb Season 1 could be. I think Season 1 is a little overrated and Season 2 is a little overhated, and together they become da-da-da-da. It's alright.
Yeah.
I also agree. Somebody says Akane's at her best in 2. I agree. I like her development. I don't like how they got rid of... I like how she had like a very like droopy cuteness in her in Season 1 that kind of goes away in later installments that I'm not a fan of that, but like her actual character development is great.
Yeah,
sure. Okay, I just need to point this out. Somebody made a thread called W Anime Hot Takes, and someone's like, "What's a W anime? Good anime? W is not a synonym for good. That's not how that works."
Fucking dumbass.
Hey, how was your day today? W.
What does it mean?
It's not just a synonym for good.
It means win. What did you win?
Anyway, that's 3 whole threads. I think we've been here for like an hour and a half.
I think that'll work. I think that'll do.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
We had some spicy ones today. Reddit was on one.
Yep. So that's us reacting to some R anime hot takes. I don't know if Sheridan's gonna be on vacation next weekend. Is he?
No. He doesn't leave until the 14th, so he should be here next week.
Okay. Right. Okay. How long is he staying? You know?
I think he said like 10 days.
Okay, so he should be here next weekend, but he's not going to be there the weekend after that.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's correct.
Right. So we'll probably do a normal BGS next week if he's available, and then probably do another one of these or something like it the week after that. Because I like that. I like to have all 3 of us there for the podcast. Ever since he became a regular, it kind of feels empty without him. So I like to do these supplemental things, and plus it gives us the opportunity to do other things.
It does. Like, I love doing these anime hot take videos and shit like that because it's just a way for me to express my opinions on shit. Because I got to talk about magical girl anime again. I love magical girl anime.
Yeah, I got to be forced to sit here and listen to you talk about that, which is what everyone wants. So yeah.
At least I wasn't going on about Heartcatch for 45 minutes.
That's true. You've made our premiere unlistenable because of that. Thank you.
No,
You're welcome.
This is why we have no subscribers. But you can fix that by subscribing to this video. If you want more of this to come. Zeke Freak out. Ciao ciao for now.